Hi guys, so I'm finally back. I missed making videos for you guys. Things got really hectic, especially with the book. And in this video, I am going to continue, and that's what I'm going to focus on with the next few videos. I'm going to focus on the few series that I've established already. Instead of introducing new stuff, I'll just, kind of like build on the content that I've already had that I see that you guys are really interested in. Like, for example, the watercolor, the portrait series, the figure drawing and anatomy, and the urban sketching. And this one I'll be continuing the urban sketching. So consider this the third of the series on urban sketching. So in the first video I went over some basics. In the second I went over framing, how to give you ideas on how you can cut apart a scene that you're seeing. And in this one I am going to go over give you some ideas and tips on how you can use basic shapes to break down the scene that you draw. So for example, a lot of times it used to happen to me too. Like, I would look at a scene and it's easy to get overwhelmed by a lot that you're seeing, especially if it's a street scene or wherever. You can get overwhelmed by a lot, and sometimes it can challenge you to break things down, and that's where I'm going to give you some help. Like, for example, I should have actually gotten one of my street scene images, but what I did here, I have like photographs that I've taken from around my area and stuff. So I figured that I'm going to give you some ideas on how I would actually do like a quick sketch of these from the approach of breaking them down into breaking down the scene into basic shapes. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's pretty simple. And you'll find that this has helped me a lot when I'm drawing, and I think it will help you a lot too. Because the thing is, you can apply this to just about anything. I think I'll actually approach it more thoroughly when I do the 5 ways of seeing. If you're already familiar with that series, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Like, you can look at something in different ways. So for example, if you look at a box like this, now that's a 3D shape, okay? Now in the same token, you have to be able to, and say this is on a table or something, whatever, all right? Now you have to at the same time be able to look at this box as if you break it down into simple, flat 2D shapes in that sense. So it's almost like you have to flatten it out, and see it just in terms of flat 2D shapes. So it's almost like you see them, just to give you an idea, it's almost like you see them as holes in a piece of paper or something, something like that. See what I mean? They're holes in this piece of paper. You have to be able to be that flexible in how you perceive things, because it really helps in breaking things down and simplifying things, so you're not overwhelmed by the complexity of whatever you draw. Okay, so in a scene, when you're walking around, you're trying to sketch a scene. Now sometimes you can see, like, look at this big shape. Say this is one rectangular shape, right? Then you can see something, like you may see a line run like that. Based on what you see, you may be able to break things down like that. Then you may see something else like this, and then you may see like another shape like this. And then you may see another shape, I don't know, like, let's make up something, another shape like that, okay? Now, see how simple this is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 simple shapes. This can be the basis of how you approach your entire drawing. Now, one thing I should make clear is that when you're doing a drawing, like an urban sketch or whatever it is, like say like with this then, or even like with this then, you don't necessarily have to do this literally. You can do it visually. So in other words, I may look at this, and before I draw it, I'm starting to try to simplify things to basic shapes. So I may see, okay, I can see a line. See, even though this is a curve, I may just draw that as a straight line in my mind. Like, okay, I see the picture, the entire scene that I'm interested in being divided into 2/3. 2/3 at the bottom, 1/3 at the bottom, and the top of the image is 2/3. And then this may be an arc in that 2/3 at the top. So in other words, you may see this scene. So let's look at it like this. So you may see something that looks like, you may see something like this. Alright, let's say that's our scene. and you may see this. Then you may see this. See that? And then you may say, okay, you may want, you can ignore the tree altogether, or you can just put it in. But you see how I've already set a foundation for how I'm going to approach my drawing, and this is very useful. Okay, it really helps you to organize things, and I'll give you some ideas on how you can use it as well. And that's your tree. See that? So this line not only helps me to know where the tree is, but it also helps me to form a fulcrum or a pivot of design, you know. So in other words, it's almost like I'm looking at my drawing in this way, and I'm looking at how things are weighed or how things are balanced visually, and I can use this as a basis of determining how I'm going to use my values, or I can use this as a basis of composition and design. You can be flexible in your own drawings, okay? And I think that's a part of the fun in how I approach drawing. Like, I play around with things that I see. So I may see this tree and I may shift it over a little bit and say, you know what, I think since this part goes up a little bit and this tree's here, I may shift this over and I may put it here just to see what it feels like. And see, now it seems like it may be more balanced. Or you can have it there, but make sure that your deeper values are on this side to balance this larger size. See what I'm saying? That helps in composition and design, balancing value with sizes of things and locations. So then you're going into composition and design. I think later on, after I cover the basics, I'll go develop a series in composition and design where I can give you tips that I use. You know, they're not anything laid in stone, but things that you may find useful. So even here, see, the values on this side are actually deeper than the values on this side. See this larger white and gray values, and over here you have deeper values on the left. This, even though it's smaller, it helps to balance out the large. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about, and this may seem off topic, but it really is not. In other words, smaller, deep valued shapes balance larger, light valued shapes. You can see, right? So I'm going to use a ballpoint pen just to show you that you don't have to, use all kinds of fancy dancy drawing pens or whatnot. You can use simple little ballpoint pens too, and it's really just to do quick sketches, and you don't have to always frame your drawings as well. I'm just doing this here just to give you guys some ideas on how you can approach this. Now, this is something you don't have to do literally, as I said. Okay, you can do it visually. Think about it while you're drawing the actual drawing. But I'm just going to do it just to give you an idea of how I'm thinking about what I'm seeing. Okay, that's important. And that's one of the things that I like about ballpoint pens, is that you can actually draw light lines. If I were drawing with something like this, I'd have to maybe sketch with pencil or just literally just dive in and do it, and it's fun as well too, because it's liberating. You don't have to think about mistakes. You just do whatever, however it comes out, and that can be very spontaneous and immediate kind of a feeling. With this, I'm just doing it just to have you guys see how I could approach this thing. So I'm showing you how I'm breaking this up into the basic shapes. And there you go. Those are my basic shapes. This is how I see the scene. Okay. Then it's just a matter of working in little details and breaking it into smaller and smaller shapes. So see, all I did was just start from a basic setup like this, and the thing is, it's the whole simple to complex principle, where you're learning how to break things down. Basically, drawing for me, it's like this: you observe reality, you deconstruct it, you break it down, to simple things, whether it's simple shapes, simple values, in whatever simple forms, and then you reconstruct it to create the reality that you perceive or you'd like to perceive, because you may idealize it or you may modify it, whatever you do, or you may reconstruct it to the best of your ability to represent what you see. It's up to you, but the idea is you break it down, you deconstruct it, you organize it, and you build it back together. And it's a very fun process because it really puts you in the control of the design. And that's pretty much what I did. I just broke this down to simple shapes. And then, so of course, I may not necessarily be as formal as to sketch out the basic shapes, or sometimes I do, but it's up to you. And I think while it may not be an approach that everybody may like, but it gives you a lot of, it enhances your thinking abilities, all right, and how to think about things you see when you draw them. And you may not necessarily use this, but at least it's something to be aware of that you can apply when given a certain situation. I may not approach every drawing like this, but I definitely use it a lot. So I'll do one more for you guys. Let's see, which of these two? If there were a poll right now, I'd ask you guys which one do you think I should. I guess since this has more going on, I'll do this one. All right, this is pretty simple to me in terms of the shapes. See, again, the image separates itself to me. See, in that sense, like that, and then I would just ignore that this part, and then the rest of the image is really going on here. So you see that it really helps you to think about design, balance and so on, visual balance. And most of what's going on in this image is going on in the lower half. And it's not a perfectly horizontal line, it's somewhat slanted down towards the left. So that's also a design element where you can have, since it inclines or increases upwards, you can use that to guide the eyes. Those are the things you think about when you're thinking about design. So in this one, I'll show you how I would break these shapes down. So let's say I have my little box here. Alright, and be reminded that sometimes my box is not drawn when I'm drawing, or sometimes I draw the box after the drawing is done, and sometimes I actually don't draw a box at all. But it's just something I like doing. And sometimes you leave the box out because the frame, if you intend to frame your drawing, the frame will act as the box for you. So you may not necessarily want to do that if you intend on framing your drawings, okay? So with this, I'll just give you a quick little snapshot of the shapes, the dominant shapes I see. Alright, so let's take a look at this for a while. Try to take it in. Okay, definitely see the road. I see this other line, kind of where the vanishing point is. See the railroad tracks, the lines converge. I would ignore the railroad tracks. I don't see it necessarily as creating a dominant shape as yet. I see this line. So, notice that I'm also following lines that are visible, lines that are clear, and I'm also following lines that are not there at all. Lines that are just I create based on how I see things put together. And definitely, you see this. This is dominant shape. Here's another shape here. And this shape. And that's how I pretty much would divide everything in that way. Yeah, of course, I have our little box like that. Yep, and that's how I would organize my information. I see most activity taking place, or these are the shapes that dominate the design of the image for me. All right, and then of course for you it may be different. You may actually use the vanishing point. So for example, someone may look at the same image and organize it around the vanishing point. So here's a vanishing point here, and they may actually say, okay, the image is designed like this. Even the, see that? Like that. And from here, you can pretty much just start breaking stuff up, getting more and more complex. See that? Building is following the lines of convergence. So as I said, there are different ways you can approach it. There's no hard, fast rule about, how you break down the shapes. Just follow your creative intuition. All right. So let's have some fun with this. There it is, guys. So hopefully this was useful and you can get some tips from this that you can apply to your own drawings. So as I said, be reminded that you don't have to necessarily use this approach, but it's a useful approach to have, and you'll find that you can apply it to a variety of subjects, whether it's landscape or whether even a portrait. You can apply the same concept of breaking things down into basic shapes, basic flat shapes. I'm not talking about simple shapes in terms of like a spherical form or a cylinder and so on. I'm talking about flat shapes. All right, and just going from there and making the image more complex. And as I said, it can help you as a basis for composition and design, or it can help you as a way of visually balancing the image, or even in terms of making value shapes. You can use it as a way of studying, okay, how am I going to lay in my lights and darks and middle values and so on? Where my deepest value going to go? Where's my lightest value going to go? And so on. How do I structure that? And it's a really fun and simple approach to follow, I think, because it really puts you in command of what to include and to zero in on, okay, where is the more important areas? Where is the area of focus? Where is all the information? And you can just approach it in a very simple, organized way and not necessarily, feeling overwhelmed. All right, so hopefully you guys found this useful and some stuff you can apply to your own drawings. So I'll see you in the next tutorial.